Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YAP research presentation. We are so excited. Oh, wait, it is live. It's happening. It's always a little bit challenging to get this together, but it is happening. Welcome, everyone. We're so happy you're here. We want to give a couple of folks time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YAP. Every time that happens. So we want to give a couple minutes for folks to join us so that everyone gets to see this at the same time. But I am thrilled to introduce the YAP youth of the 2021-2022 school year to you and hear from them as they share their research presentation with you. Before we get started, I'll talk a little bit about GRCB, which is the parent organization of YAP. So GRCB empowers girls, women, and gender expansive youth and adults to believe in themselves by building a supportive community that fosters self-expression, confidence, and collaboration through music education and performance. And YAP is a program that GRCB runs, whose mission is to support youth in their activism and to build their autonomy and their ability to change the world that we live in through research and activism. I'm really excited to introduce these youth to you. They've worked really hard this year, and I could not be more proud. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Welcome, YAP youth. Please introduce yourselves to our audience.
Hi, I'm Esme. I'm 16 years old. I use she, her pronouns, and I love doodling stuff, playing the guitar, and other hobbies.
My name is Zoe. I'm 16. I use any pronouns, and I also love doodling stuff. I love drawing and art and painting.
I'm Katie. I'm 13. I use she and they pronouns, and I love to read.
Wonderful. We're going to go now into the presentation, and after the presentation, we'll be answering your questions. So please, as you're watching, throw your questions into the chat because we will be answering them at the end. We can't wait to engage with you and for you to really get your burning questions answered by these youth. All right, so I'm going to start this video and we're going to have an amazing time. YAP youth, go ahead and turn your cameras and mics off.
Okay, let's start off by talking about what Youth Activism Project, or YAP, is. So YAP is an organization for youth that is dedicated to activism.
We are youth-led, which means each semester the youth in the program, which is currently the three of us, hello, we select a topic and make a plan to research it. This year we have decided to focus on creating safe spaces for LGBTQ plus youth in schools and after-school programs, basically any sort of like public space. And so the three of us have decided to organize a series of panels. We've reached out to experts on this topic, and we have made a survey for youth, which we are going to be sharing the results of today.
Since we are youth-led, we want to make other youth like us and our friends and people in our community to feel safe and to feel like they can freely express themselves with everyone around them being accepting of them.
Our main question this year was, what does safety mean to you, and where do you feel safe, and what makes you feel safe in different places? We took some quotes from the survey, and I feel like something that's important about this one is it talks about how this person defines feeling safe as being able to express themselves without fear. And I think that's really important because anyone should be able to express themselves and not feel fear.
This one really resonated with me because, like, as a very anxious person in general, like feeling like this one talks about feeling scared, not just like feeling not safe, but be having anxiety about like being in a place that is not supportive, even if it's not like openly hostile. It's just really a feeling of the opposite of safety.
An important thing about this one especially is that this person defines feeling safe as being free to express themselves in all sorts of ways. They say with their creativity especially, and I believe that's very important for everyone to have a space where they can feel free and accepted and being able to express themselves without any judgment.
We were lucky enough to have 74 respondents for the survey who we found by reaching out through the GRCB network, email, etc., promoting on Instagram, through social media, and generally just reaching out through the GRCB community and promoting it, with our schools, learning communities, etc.
This slide shows the pronouns that people use. She, her being the most used pronouns by our people who took the survey. And then he, him, she, they, other, and he, they. And the other category, we had a lot of people using neo pronouns. And I really think this is pretty interesting because we have a wide range of pronouns and we can have all different people with different expressions and different ideas to contribute to our survey.
To follow up on the pronouns question, we also asked about the gender identity of each of our participants, and it more or less matches up with the graph on the previous slide. We have a majority identifying as women, girls, female, etc., about a quarter male, and under gender expansive we had a really wide range of identities like gender fluid, gender queer, non-binary, etc.
And this slide we have the races and ethnicities of our participants, with the majority being white, and then we have Latinx, Black, Hispanic, and multiracial. Yeah, and I also believe that this is important too because we have a lot of people from different backgrounds that can contribute to our presentation.
So in terms of sexual orientation, we asked all of our participants whether they identified as straight, as questioning, as LGBTQ+, and about half identified as LGBTQ for sexual orientation. We have a small amount like questioning, undecided, and the rest were straight. Under those who said yes to the LGBTQ question, we have 40% bisexual, the largest percent of all the identities we have. We have gay, lesbian, undecided, and under the other category, a wide range of different identities like pansexual, asexual, aromantic, etc.
In this next slide, we have all different grades of our participants. A lot in the 9th grade, 11th, 10th, and 12th. But I believe anyone that says 6 and under was just 6th grade. I don't think we had anyone younger than that. But otherwise, we have a wide range of ages, and it kind of goes along with everything else. It's really important that we have all these different people with all these different backgrounds, expressions, ages, and all that.
Now that we've taken a look at the data, let's talk about what this data means.
So we asked both ally youth and LGBTQ plus youth some questions about how supportive they felt that their communities were for LGBTQ plus people. The ally youth said that personally 56%, a majority, said that they felt they supported their friends or peers in the LGBTQ plus community as well as possible on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, and there's a couple lower numbers in there too, a 5, a 7, 8, etc. And you can see it feels like that same level of support is not always showing for the LGBTQ plus youth themselves in their own communities. 37% lower percent said that they felt their communities were the most accepting, and then we have several who said they were the least possible, 5 sort of in the middle, 6, etc.
We also asked LGBTQ plus and questioning youth which age groups they felt most comfortable with. And for LGBTQ plus youth, the majority of people said that they feel most comfortable with peers or people their own age. And then for questioning youth, still the majority says they feel comfortable with peers, but it's pretty evenly split between adults and both.
On this slide, we asked the questioning youth, which of your communities is most accepting of LGBTQ plus youth? And this, a lot of people said their school, and then other youth groups such as like after school activities, sports, all those things like that. And then others said they don't know if or which communities are most accepting. Then other people said friends.
We asked ally youth and LGBTQ plus youth where that they felt safest for both groups. For ally youth, most said with family, about like 39%, and 30% said with a friend group. A smaller percentage said at school, online, and then for LGBTQ plus youth, we can see that they're more likely to look for safety at school. There's 7% there. Online, 14% compared with the 2% within the ally youth, so a much larger amount, and less than half say with family compared to the ally youth question. So you can see there's a really interesting difference there where they're going to look for a safe community.
We asked everyone if they have a safe space. And this was really interesting because all of the ally and questioning youth said that they did, but not all of the LGBTQ plus youth said that they did. And even though it might be small on the graph, it still is really important.
Looking back at some of our graphs, we have one graph where we asked people how supportive they feel their community is. We asked both the LGBTQ plus youth and the questioning and the ally youth. Everyone in the ally pool and questioning pool said that that their communities are a lot more accepting and understanding of LGBTQ plus youth than LGBTQ plus youth said. With the ally and the question youth, we had answers that only went down to 5, but with LGBTQ plus youth, we had 1 where it was not at all. So I feel that LGBTQ plus youth are the ones who are actually experiencing these things, and they are the ones who are living through these things and actually feeling the discrimination towards them and not being able to feel safe, while ally youth might see that their community is more accepting. They're not the ones who are actually experiencing it. And I hope that our research can show that to allies of all ages what it actually is like. And these quotes from LGBTQ plus youth can give a look into their lives every day and how they feel in their communities.
So looking at the where do you feel safe question, there are also some differences in the places where LGBTQ plus youth and allied youth feel safe reaching out to for support. Substantially more allied youth are reaching out for support with their family, and with the LGBTQ plus youth, it's more, at school, online, with friends, the sort of communities where these issues are being like they're saying that they are not feeling safe all of the time. And of course, some of our LGBTQ plus respondents said that they did not have a safe space at all, as Katie covered a couple slides ago, compared to 100% of our questioning and allied survey takers saying that they did. So even though that's a small number, as Zoe was saying, that difference is very visible and very worrying, and there's definitely more that needs to be done to help LGBTQ plus youth have a safe space, a supportive community in places like at school, online, in different communities.
And circling back to the question of do you feel safe? We got some more quotes. And one thing about this one that is striking to me is how the person talks about how they don't feel safe. And that just feels really striking because we need to do more. We really do need to do more to make sure that everyone feels safe and everyone feels safe and free to express themselves.
So this one's talking about that lack of, fear, worry, anxiety in everyday life, which really can be omnipresent depending on what situation you're in, what environment you're in, really this lack of safety. And the person is talking about at school, absolutely something that we heard a lot of our respondents talking about, feeling unsafe there in public. But then even at home, it can be a real issue for people.
This person feels like when they aren't in a place that is secured or protected, they feel they're in danger. And the information that we've been collecting, we hope that we can give the people around LGBTQ plus youth understanding and accepting to make a more secured and protected area for LGBTQ plus youth so they don't feel in danger like this person. We hope that you'll be able to take away information from our research and that you can understand and learn to accept LGBTQ plus youth better in your communities. And I hope that the quotes and the data that we've collected can give you some insight into how everyday LGBTQ plus youth live.
We also hope that you spread the word about this and discuss it with your own communities, your families, your schools, people around you, and talk about it more so that you can become aware and your communities can be aware of how accepting they are of people. Circling back to that graph that showed that some people think that they're really accepting, and then LGBTQ plus people sometimes feel like it's not as accepting. So be more aware of how you're treating everyone. And it's also important to discuss this so that people in the LGBTQ plus community don't feel as alone if they don't feel safe.
So, if you're like us, you've probably been looking at all this data and thinking, this is terrible. People need so much more support than what's being given to them. What are some more concrete things that I can do to help? And if you want to educate yourself a bit more on that topic or just see what else we've been up to here at YAP this semester, we have a couple more events coming up. This has been the Data Share. Thank you so much for coming, listening, seeing what we have found. And we have a panel coming up with different adult experts on this topic, sort of a wide range of different people, youth workers, people who specialize in creating safe spaces for LGBTQ plus youth, some artists, musicians, allies, LGBTQ plus community members. We're really excited to share that with you. I personally cannot wait to see what comes out of that. We're hoping to host a youth panel as well for LGBTQ plus youth to talk about their experiences. And we are going to be launching a website where you can find all of these videos in our workshops, along with additional information, resources on this topic.
Wow. Okay, so that was our YAP Youth data presentation. Good job, Esme, Katie, and Zoe. I'm so excited now to have a Q&A to really talk to you about this data that you collected. So everybody at home who's watching, please add questions in the chat that you would like to know. I'll be fielding them and passing them on to the YAP Youth. But I think we should start with the question, why did you choose this topic? Why is this topic important to you? I would love to hear from you all, and I'm going to go field those questions.
I can start. I feel like this topic was really important to us because of how close it is to us. Like, we have friends, family, and people in our communities that need support and help feeling safe in their communities, and it's just very important to us.
Yeah, and also similar to that. It is something that affects everyone. This topic affects people with family members, people, allies, but also it affects members of the community. So it's really important because it helps and affects everyone.
Yeah, I think you two said it all really. This is definitely a topic that's very close to home for all of us. So I am glad that we had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about it ourselves, share about it, etc.
What was the most surprising thing you found in this data?
Well,
sorry, you can go.
Well, one thing for me that was really surprising, well, there are two things. The first one is how many people actually took the survey. But the thing that was really surprising was how many people said that they did or didn't have a safe place. And that was just really interesting and surprising to see.
I wouldn't. Oh, you go first.
Sorry. I was really surprised of how many people we got and how many different people we got. We got such a wide variety of people, and I'm really glad that we were able to, of so many different ages, sexualities, genders, ethnicities, all that. It was very interesting, and I like that.
I wouldn't say that I was surprised by the quotes that we got exactly, but definitely there was a lot of really deep material in there. You know, we pulled some of the quotes for the slides. I remember one or two people wrote like an entire essay in there, which was very interesting, very fun. But yeah, just hearing people's thoughts on this topic, I guess the respondents are a lot more honest about it than I sort of expected them to be on an internet survey, you know.
Awesome. What is after reviewing your data, what is the next question you would like to ask? Like, is there something you wish you could ask all those respondents now that you know what you know?
I guess for me, it would be, what steps do you think should be taken in your community to help? Like, you know, for the people that said that they didn't feel safe, etc. That's something that we're hoping to dive into a little bit more with our next, like panels, etc. But I don't know. I'd be curious to see what these people as individuals think should be done.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like wondering what people think needs to be done and what we can do and what everyone can do.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking. I want to know what their feelings are on what needs to be done for them to feel safe and comfortable in their communities.
Awesome. So the next question is, how has this research impacted you? And do you have a recommendation for how parents, teachers, other adults might better support LGBTQ plus youth? So it's like a two-part question. Number one is, how did this research impact you? And number two is, how can adults do better?
I think this research gave me like a look into how everyone is feeling, and I was really happy with how much people put into this survey and how much we got to learn from these people. And I think that parents and teachers should really just talk to the people in their communities and get to know their feelings and how they want to be referred to or known as or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think one thing people can do, like you said, is listen, but also just generally when you meet someone, just don't jump on ideas, that just be accepting of everyone. Like we said in the presentation, be accepting of everyone around you. You don't know what people are going through and you don't know them until you really get to know them. So just be accepting of everyone, and that's just a recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're like a teacher or in some sort of like, facilitating stuff for youth, there are definitely specific steps you can take. Like making sure there's access to all gender restrooms, definitely a good thing to make sure of. Like asking for people's pronouns if they feel comfortable sharing when you're doing, get to know you activities, etc. Just being respectful of people's names, what they prefer to be called, etc.
Thank you. All right. How has, or excuse me, what advice would you give to other youth who want to do data-driven research? Like after this process, what is the advice that you would give to another group of youth doing research?
I think that other youth can, oh, sorry, Katie. I think that other youth can talk to the people in their schools, in their communities, maybe start like a GSA in their communities to talk to other people who want to also help, and yeah, and do some research online.
Yeah, also, if you want to do a survey, the first thing that comes to mind is don't give up, because it's definitely a long process and you're not going to get all your response. Like, you're not going to get all of them immediately. You have to wait. And definitely also spread the word about it if you're conducting a survey, because if no one knows about it, then you're not going to get any results. And also, the last thing I'm going to say is try to make sure you have a diverse group of people filling out the survey. So you have representation from every community who can fill out the survey, because if you have a group of people who are all basically the same, then you're not going to get a wide variety of answers.
Thank you. All right. Were there any positive results that you were glad to see? Was there anything that you were like, oh, this is great?
I have to say, I was sort of or not even expecting, just like wondering if more people would answer, in the question, do you have a safe space? Like two of the groups, all of them said yes. Obviously, like it's really worrying that some in the LGBTQ plus pool said no, as we were touching on earlier. That's like one of the reasons why we wanted to take up this research. But I was still, kind of happy about the fact that it was a smaller percentage.
Great. And the questions are slowing down in the chat. So for those of you at home, if you want to get your question in, please throw it in the chat now. But the next question is, will you walk us through the process of your research? What did you do? How did you start this process? What did you do? Tell us about that.
Well, we kind of started off by thinking of a question, and we were wondering, like, what do we want to learn from this? What do we want to do? And our question was, do you feel safe? Like, what makes you feel safe? So we really started off with thinking of what do we want to take away from this in the end, and then we had to make a survey, obviously, and then we tried to give it out to as many people as we could. Like, we told people at schools, in other communities. Yeah, Zoe or Esme, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, after that point, like we were really lucky to get such a like large and diverse pool of respondents, and definitely lots of data to go through, many spreadsheets. The most satisfying part for me was like taking, the raw data from all of our respondents and turning it, into pie charts easily. You can look at it and understand what the data is telling you. But also, a lot of it was more like qualitative data than quantitative, like as you saw with the quotes and stuff. So like we sort of spent some time going through to see which responses really got to the heart of what like messages were being told to us via the survey.
Wonderful. That's all the questions we have so far. Is there anything else that you all want to share about this project, about your research, anything that feels like it slipped through the cracks that you'd like to share about now?
I just hope that everyone here can learn something and take something away from it. And just, I hope that people can join our panels that are coming up and keep and learn about our new information that we're collecting.
We do have another question. So, are there opportunities for you to share your presentation at schools or at your schools or with other youth groups that you know or are a part of?
Hopefully, maybe someday we can do something like that. We'll have to figure out a time that will work for all of us and the schools or communities.
Yeah, we've been looking into like joining presenting at a couple different like online activism stuff, but you know, fingers crossed that it pans out.
Yes, right now we are in the process of getting YAP registered to present at the Partners for Youth with Disabilities Youth Activism Forum. So we will see if that pans out, but this research will be hopefully shared there. And then why don't you all tell us about your website, which is going to be the resource that folks are going to be able to use to get this information.
So we're going to be launching a website that has our research findings on it and this and the other calls coming up. And I think we just started putting on like resources and our data in ways that people can access it. Yeah.
We made something similar last year with our project on policing in school. So if you haven't had the chance to check that out already, you could take a look. We're like going to do something similar this time.
Yeah, and we'll have terms and things for people to learn on our website too, and also a bunch of resources for anyone who needs help or who needs to learn more.
Wonderful. Why don't you all talk about the next panel that's scheduled, which is our professional panel.
So we've invited a lot of like people who are like, you know, knowledgeable about creating safe spaces for LGBTQ plus people, you know, whether that means students. We've got some youth workers in there, like some experts on this topic, some people who are a little bit more, you know, like musicians, artists, and we're going to have the opportunity to ask them some questions specifically about like, you know, what specific things can people do to make safe spaces for LGBTQ plus students. And I'm really excited to see what we all learned from it.
That panel is happening on May 8th at 12:30 live here as well on YouTube. You can find links to that at our website, which I just threw in the chat, yapboston.org. All right, why don't you all talk about the youth panel and who we are seeking?
So we want to also do a panel that interviews LGBTQ plus youth and talk about their experiences. And we want to just ask them like, have you had an experience where you didn't feel safe or stuff like that? And we need more youth panelists for this event. So yes, anything else anyone said?
Yeah, if you or anyone that you know might be interested in joining, you can get in touch with us, you know, here at our Instagram, all of the different online places.
All right. I'm going to throw the link to our Instagram up in the chat, but is there anything the three of you would like to say to close us out?
Well, thank you to everyone who came to this. We hope that you take something away from this.
Thank you so much for joining. Please let any youth that you know, or if you would like to join a youth panel, to get in touch with us.
Yeah, and we hope to see you back here for the adult panel. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a lot of fun.
And big thank you from GRCB. Thank you everyone for joining us. Please take a look at the new YAP website. Follow us on Instagram and keep up with us as we have more stuff coming this spring that we know you're going to want to be a part of. This video is going to remain on the GRCB YouTube channel, so you can share the link to this video with anyone in your professional or familial or anything circles who you think would benefit from this information. Please share this with them. We want to get as many views as possible to spread this information around the world. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.